You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 470 for Sunday, the 10th of September, 2023.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Well, alas, Jane is still sailing on the big ship in the big sea, so no her as yet, but I am sure she will be back next week with a fantastic trip report about her adventures on the Disney Dream. Has she been converted into a cruiser is the big question. So this week I am very fortunate to have our wonderful friends from Dis Down Under, Kat and Lewis. Hello and welcome back.
Hey Michelle, how you going?
Hey Michelle.
Going really well, and it's always fabulous to have you guys along to talk some Disney.
I have to keep on remembering to talk because I'm so used to listening to the show that I sort of get carried away with the listening part, and I'm like, oh yes, I actually have to talk this time.
Well, I thought we'd talk together a little bit about Disneyland because you've been, I've just come back, and I thought it'd be an interesting way for me to sort of say a little bit about my trip, but you also to interrogate me about the changes. So if you are planning a future trip in the future, you can get some up-to-date info.
Sounds good.
Before we start on that conversation, what's new with you guys on Dis Down Under?
Oh, there's not a lot of new stuff. I mean, we're doing a lot of planning at the moment. We've got 3 cruises happening this year, so that's pretty exciting. We are doing a two nights as back-to-back, so technically I'm counting that as one. The bank account says otherwise. And so we've got those 3 happening, and we're making plans to head over to Japan and Hong Kong in 2024, so that's pretty exciting.
That is so exciting because that part of the world with the castle remodel and the new lands and things like that, it's so exciting. And you know I am a massive fan of Duffy, and that is the mecca for all Duffy fans.
Oh, definitely. Like Hong Kong and Japan, like Tokyo Disney's just got so much stuff. There's whole stores just about devoted to the outfits for the characters.
So exciting. So the cruises you're doing this year, which ship is coming over to Australia?
We have the Wonder coming down under, but they've really confused customers in some ways because a few people think it's the Magic that's coming down here because they've called it Magic at Sea. And so it's definitely the Wonder. We have confirmed this.
Yes.
But they're calling the series Magic at Sea. So there's a couple of people that are expecting a different ship to rock up. That's fine. They'll be very excited to see the Wonder when it gets here. In October, I think the first sailing leaves Hawaii on the 14th.
They're both the same ship, ostensibly, though, with the Wonder and the Magic, aren't they?
Very similar.
Yeah. So it's not like it's going to be it's like they'll go, oh, the fantasy's coming in. It's the Wonder that turns up.
Yeah, that's true. That would be.
Yeah, a little rowing boat turns up in the port.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we've got that coming down very, very shortly, which is kind of exciting. So we're going to be on it. I think our sailing leaves Sydney on the 1st of November. And we thought it was just a little couple of 2-night cruises. But what we actually realised is that we're going to be doing the first sailing into Melbourne and the first sailing out of Melbourne by doing these 2-night cruises. So that's kind of exciting. I've got a bit of heritage in my ancient history past where people have actually sailed into Melbourne to actually come to Australia. So yeah, it's kind of cute.
Fantastic stuff. We'll have to hear more from you a little bit nearer the time because I know you've been busy making all of those plans. And if you're in Melbourne, wave at my daughter because she's there at the moment, although she keeps hopping over to Perth to work in this mine. She's not actually a miner, but she's doing backup support in Perth, and it's like, oh, did you bump into Kat and Lewis thinking it's just a little small hamlet?
FIFO life is so weird because they literally jump on a plane, land at the airport, and then fly out to their destination, don't they?
Yeah, it's just so surreal, but she's loving it. Anyway, digression, back onto Disney chat.
Yes, back to Disney.
It seems an eternity ago that a little giddy Michelle got on a British Airways flight all the way from Heathrow Airport in London, or on the outskirts, to LAX. We landed mid-afternoon and our lovely friend picked us up. Can you guess which place he took us to eat, Kat and Lewis?
Would it be In-N-Out Burger?
It surprisingly was In-N-Out Burger. Tommy picked us up and we were a little bit rumbly in the tumbly. And for Californians who have been there, know why In-N-Out is a favourite. It's good food, done well, and at a reasonable price point.
Yeah, and super quick. It's nice to have something when you're really feeling that hunger pang to get something that's served to you nice and quick.
And it's fresh.
Yeah.
So brilliant. We went on and stayed at the Marriott Hotel down by the convention centre, which again, very comfortable stay, beautiful room. I do recommend this place. It's near enough for you to walk the entire way, or if you're feeling a bit lazy, you can walk over the road to the Toy Story parking lot and take the shuttle, which we did a couple of times in the evening.
That's a good tip. And so this is the second time that you've stayed at the Marriott, isn't it?
It is. 2019 was the first, and then this time. The only downside I have really to sort of feed back to people is that the cost of car parking is quite expensive. That is the one downside for me. But everything else, comfy bed, clean room, the shower and bathroom area is fantastic. And there is a little mini sort of Starbucks-esque cafe market to go place in the lobby. So you can grab a coffee and make that trek down to the theme park.
That's excellent. So you can kind of fuel up en route to the park. That's great.
Yeah. I know you guys in your past trips, you've stayed on site. Well, if you can stay on site at Disney hotels. Which hotel would you prefer to stay at if you were going to go there again?
Look, I quite liked the Disneyland Hotel. I think that there's something to be said for older built hotels. They're a bit more solid and things. I found that a really nice, quiet night's sleep. I thought that, I mean, it's too long ago, really, and I think there's been a revamp of Paradise Pier since we stayed there our very first trip to Disneyland. I thought that was quite comfortable, but it did feel further from the park as well.
Did you think so, really?
Yeah. Like not in a dramatic kind of way, but you did feel like you're set back a little bit further, because you kind of were able to sort of cut. Did we end up cutting through the Grand Californian to get to the park, or did we just walk along the pathways? I just know that it was a little bit further to walk.
It was weird. It's weird though, because I always think Disneyland hotels are furthest away from the parks, and then the Pixar Pier or whatever it's called now is just across the road from the Grand Californian, and then Grand Californian is right on the doorstep of the parks. So, like, I mean, if money wasn't an option, then staying at the Grand Californian would be the way to go. But it's very expensive, and you do tend to spend most of your time in the parks while you're there. So you don't really get the value for money.
No, and especially that we had a view that looked right over, what's the Goofy ride?
Flying School or something like that.
Yeah, that looked right over that, and it was amazing. But we might have looked out that window, a couple of times a day. We didn't really spend that much time accessing that view.
You get a better view of it in the park. So
yeah, exactly.
So I would say, for me,
if money was no object, I'd probably just go to the Disneyland Hotel.
Probably I'd go back to Disneyland Hotel. That was quite good. Had a good pool as well. Had the Enchanted Tiki Bar.
Yeah.
There as well. So yeah, there's a lot to go for that hotel.
Okay. Would you ever consider staying at a non-Disney hotel making a Disneyland trip?
Absolutely. If it's as close as you've recommended that it is, I think that would be an option for us going forward, because if you're saving some money on the ground in terms of where you stay, because it's literally somewhere just to put your head down at night, as long as it's clean and it's quiet, I'm bang up for doing that.
Yeah, and there's quite a few hotels on Harbour Boulevard. What you can get to the park in 10 minutes, and as I say, the Marriott 10 minutes walk up the road, and you're there. So for me, I loved it. We bought a 1 day ticket initially before we went and booked reservations to go into Disneyland because, as of recording, you still do have to make that. And we had a very loose plan of going and experiencing what is different in Disneyland rather than what is already there in Walt Disney World.
Right.
We knew we were going to meet our friends Tommy and Lena and Nan for breakfast at Carnation Cafe. But, it's been ages since we'd been to Disneyland, so we were so excited. We got to the park at 7:30 and was able to walk into the park, be ready for that 8 o'clock proper opening time to hit a couple of attractions up.
And what were your first attractions?
Well, we decided to go down the route of what isn't at Walt Disney World. So we went to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Nice.
The queue was minimal, so we literally walked straight on. And we had a really good experience. Tom hadn't seen it, and neither had I, since they'd done those little bits of improvements on the attraction as well, which happened, I think, earlier this year, or was it last year? And we enjoyed it, so we thought, okay, where else do we want to go? And we tended to have the sort of mantra of, I chose a ride, Tom did. Well, he likes the classics, so he made me go over to Peter Pan, which technically we've got at Walt Disney World, but we didn't do it when we was last there because at Walt Disney World the lines are just cray.
Yeah, definitely. And for it's not a thrilling ride. It's a lovely ride to do, but you don't really want to be queuing for a long time to do it.
No. And then obviously we wanted to hit up Fantasyland if we were there, so we went next door and did Mr. Toad. We went on Alice. At this point, our friends Tommy and Lena had joined us, so we went on the Storybook Canal boats together, and then we woke our spines up by going on the Matterhorn.
Oh, how did you fare after that little ride?
Well, they've closed Splash Mountain.
Uh-huh.
They've turned the Matterhorn into Splash Matterhorn.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
It was about 9:10 at this point. And we were on the Fantasyland side, and literally I was in the front seat and a wall of water came towards me as you're on the base of the mountain going through the water, and we all came out absolutely soaked.
Tell me more. Sorry, is this intentional? Is this a weather-based thing? Well, what happened?
Previously when I've been on it, there's been a little tiny few droplets.
Yeah.
Not a wall of water. It was like, well, maybe it could have been that the settings were different, or because they just filled up the water and the level was higher, so they needed a few guests to take the water off as the absorbent sponges. I don't know. But literally, we came off. I'd been drier on Splash Mountain. My shorts, my T-shirt, my hair, even the others like Tom and Tommy and Lena, they all came off soaked.
Wow. Not really the experience that you were expecting.
It was a surprise. I will state on a future day that I went into the park, I went on it again and I didn't get wet. So.
Must have been just one of those weird anomalies.
Yeah. But then we had food.
Oh, what'd you have?
We felt like breakfast, so we'd made a reservation for Carnation Cafe because there's no way to start a Disney trip without some Disney-shaped food.
Agreed. What'd you have?
I know you guys love to start your Disney days with some kind of kickstart. Is there a favourite place you like to eat in the parks?
Look, one of the things that we tend to do is grab something from the Starbucks. And so we've got a coffee and a bit of a snack. I love those sous vide cheese bites that they do. I'm a big fan of them. They're enough to just sort of it's enough of all the food groups in a tiny little package, and you can eat them and they keep you going until about lunchtime, where you're probably ready to sort of sit down and have a bit of a sit down break, and then you can have a bit of lunch.
I used to like go to Earl of Sandwich and getting a sandwich from there.
That is true, but they do
don't-
not have one now.
No.
They have the Earl of Sandwich upscale version where it's a sit-down eatery. It's a little bit grander, and that's where you are just before you're getting into the crossover point of DCA and Disneyland now, where that bakery used to be, that big bakery.
Oh, La Brea.
La Brea, that's it. The name just disappeared.
That name kind of stuck with me because I ended up watching a show and I didn't understand what La Brea Bakery was until I watched this chef show and then finally understood what it was. And then literally about a week after watching that, they took La Brea out of Disney. And I was just like, but no, I understand you. Come back.
Oh, bless. Well, we stocked up on our Carnation Cafe Reload. We had a lovely breakfast. Tom had a skillet. I had the Mickey waffle. Now, they seasonally changed the fruit that came with it, and it came with an apple sort of compote with big chunks of apple and a little bit of cinnamon spice into it, which was nice. But again, this English girl can't get her head around bacon.
Oh, wait, they didn't serve bacon with the apple.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I just couldn't get my head around it. It's just weird. It's just me. So we thought, right, we're all fueled up. Husband then said, I haven't seen Galaxy's Edge in any Disney theme park. Please, can I go?
Yeah, I'm surprised he held out that long. I'm surprised he held out till after breakfast. I thought that was...
It was 10:15 and we could sit down and have a little chit-chat with our friends, Tommy, Lena and Nan, and catch up with what they were doing, but it was excited. So we went into the land and this is where the magic happened.
Oh, I'm sure it did because, like, I imagine that Tom would have just been... He would have lit up.
He is a Star Wars geek. He loves anything with Star Wars. He really does. And our friends are known for being a little bit mischievous, aren't they, Kat and Lewis?
They are.
Tommy surprised Tom, it's getting confusing now, with a visit to Savvy's workshop where he built a lightsaber.
Oh, amazing. Oh, that would have been amazing.
It's like, oh my word. For me, as a non-Star Warsy person, I can explain that we sort of checked in. We were held with a few other families and he got a special pin. You're allowed to take 2 guests with you. So Tommy and myself was able to go in. And the workshop itself, only half of it was being utilised. So I imagine with it being the morning, bookings were still a little bit light. Or maybe people were put off by the sticker shock because it is over $200 now to do.
Wow, 200 American dollars.
Yeah.
Wow.
So is this something that you would consider wanting to try out, Lewis? Or are you of the sanest opinion of me of how the heck do we get that home on a plane?
Because if it's 200 Australian dollars...
Yeah,
so
Lewis,
American dollars.
So if Lewis does the translation, I think it's going to come out somewhere around the $310 mark, or maybe $290. But I think what it really comes down to is it's a one-off experience, and I think that if the quality's there, I think it's something that we would do and maybe just one of us would build. But it's something that you'd feel a little bit incomplete if you'd walked away from your first visit and hadn't done it.
Yeah, so $313.57.
Oh, I wasn't bad with the 310.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I don't know because like there are some really good lightsabers you can buy that are like the characters' lightsabers, and I think I might be more inclined to go down that track to get those as opposed to buying one of the ones you make from component parts in Savvy's workshop. Just because, like, you know, to me, it's more of a, this is so-and-so's lightsaber, Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Right.
Yoda, Mace Windu. Yeah, just like somebody's lightsaber as opposed to just a random lightsaber that I'd made.
Okay, so to throw in a little bit of more Star Wars geekery for you, if the workshop was run a little bit differently and it was actually Huyang running the workshop, would you do it?
Oh yeah, the Kat and I recently. Well, we've been watching Star Wars Ahsoka, and there's a character in that called Hugh Yang, who Kat and I just. Well, I'd assumed that he was just a new character that introduced, played by David Tennant, and then Kat and I have been going through watching the Clone Wars, the animated series on Disney Plus, and then all of a sudden there was an episode where Hugh Yang is. It comes in the episode played by David Tennant, and he's the guy that teaches the younglings how to put together their lightsabers. And I was like,
and he's taught generations.
So if they did that, if they had Hugh Yang in there teaching you how to make a lightsaber, then yeah, I'd be bang up for it.
But Tom, how's his experience doing it?
It was surreal. Like, we sort of had to step to one side behind. There was the main sort of storyteller who was telling everyone what to do, and she had two assistants going around making sure that people were putting the right components in, and there was elements of choice. And then at the end, there was the lighting ceremony, and I will share video of this on our podcast family page and on our Instagram, but it was quite magical. And I turned to my husband and saw the face of an excited 9-year-old with tears running down his face, truly emotional at the idea of holding his own lightsaber, ready to go and face evil. It was, to him, it was not just the highlight of the trip, but probably a major highlight of his life, because I've known him for like, oh my word, like 13 years. I have never seen him that emotional in my life.
That's amazing. And I think it's probably also tribute to, one, the magic that the parks bring, but also Tommy Allison is one of those people who he hits the nail on the head every time. He knows how to bring the magic, and he is one of those incredible people that we're very lucky to have in our lives. And the fact that he was able to just go, I'm going to do this. And it was just the perfect thing to do for someone who had to hold off on getting to Galaxy's Edge for so long, and then he goes into the park and this is his first experience. It gives me goosebumps. It's lovely.
It did. It was just, we are incredibly blessed to have such wonderful friends with Tommy and Lena, and we got to spend like 2 weeks of our vacation off and on with them, and we had such an amazing time, and I can't wait to do it again because we have got further mischief planned in the upcoming years. So straight after that, we were able to enjoy the 2 Star Wars based attractions. So we went on Rise of the Resistance, and again, Tom was in awe. He absolutely loved it. And then we went to ride the Millennium Falcon. Now, this is a big, big confession from me. I rode the attraction as an engineer, which is the person sat right at the back, pressing a button, going boo boo, boo boo. And I found it boring as anything because I couldn't see what was happening in the screen. For me, I wasn't integral to the story, because if I hadn't have pressed the button, the world wouldn't have ended. So I thought the attraction was naff. However, the 4 of us rode this vehicle together, and Tommy and Lena, again, gracious hosts, insisted we were the pilots. We cried tears of laughter, the 4 of us, because we were in hysterics being the pilot, getting this navigation, because left is one way, right is another, down is up and up is down. And it was so much fun doing that experience as the pilot, but with friends. We loved it. We literally had a ball.
That's amazing. So if you don't go with a group, maybe it's a top tip to go and befriend some people and go on as a group together.
Yeah, because we know each other, and Tommy and Lena were just having hysterics along with our friend Nan at us crashing the vehicle so many times because we couldn't get down and up right way and left and right. And I was like saying, Tom, we're going to hit the cargo transporter, move it. And we were getting so excited and so into the story, which for a person who will watch Star Wars but is not really a massive fan, it did the trick. And I think the fact I was a pilot, and the fact I could see, and the fact I had people with me saying, come on, Michelle, do this, Michelle, do that. It just made it. It made it the attraction it needed to be.
Yeah, that's good. And it's good that you finally had a really positive experience, because I know that if you can't see the screen, if you're not engaged, it is going to um, maybe reduce your experience on an attraction like that.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So after that, how do you top it? Well, we decided to make a beeline for the Haunted Mansion because it was the 13th of August and they were closing down the very next day for the remake for The Nightmare Before Christmas, where Jack decks the halls for the Halloween Christmas makeover.
Very cool. So you managed to get on?
We did. We had a ride. We really enjoyed it. I would have preferred to be able to have got back on again, but time ran out on us. But we had a really good a ride on it. And since we've been, Tiana's has opened up and it's really made that New Orleans feel of that part of the park look fantastic.
That's excellent. And then that New Orleans feel really ties in a little bit more with the movie that they've just released as well.
Absolutely. Another biggie for us was going to ride Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Again, this is a new to Tom attraction because he hasn't ridden it at Walt Disney World, whereas I had. And I will say, and I'm sorry, all you Walt Disney World fans, the queue and the theming in Disneyland's version is amazing. It's got so much more that builds up to this attraction. It's just brilliant. It really is. Walt Disney World still has the essence of the Great Movie Ride as you're going through the Chinese theatre at the beginning, whereas Walt Disney World, they were able to start from fresh, and there's got some big set pieces and it is just magnificent, and Tom loved the attraction. We had a wander around Toontown and there's a new fountain, so there's some new pieces in there, and it's such a really nice revitalized area, and the shop in there was really good, and I couldn't resist buying a few of Max's power lines to try, which I haven't yet tried, and I also got a very cool Spirit jersey.
Oh, what's on the Spirit jersey?
It's a Disney Pride one, which
Oh, lovely.
was so colourful, and it was one I wanted to buy when it was on Shop Disney, but it ran out of my size. So, yeah.
Managed to get it in person. I think sometimes buying it in the parks makes it that little bit more special.
Yeah, true. It links to that memory of being in that shop and wandering around with friends. And before we left Toontown, we decided to endure Roger Rabbit's Toontown spin. And Tommy went on with Tom, and Lena, Nan and myself all said, oh, we'll go in one vehicle together. These vehicles are meant really for two moderately slim people, and there's three of us trying to squeeze into this vehicle, and there was no way, not unless you got some air elastics and fastened me to the hood. So I stepped back and I went in on my own, but it was quite funny for a moment with everybody in the queue thinking, what are these three people thinking, trying to get the three of them in this tiny teeny weeny space?
Oh, that's gold. I was thinking, hang on a second. I don't remember them being that big. I remember squishing him with Lewis and one. I thought,
Yeah.
Ambitious at best.
Yes, unfortunately. But anyway, after that we felt hungry, so we wanted a big tummy fill, but we hadn't booked a reservation. So
what'd you go with?
We went to the Plaza Inn, and Tom got the chicken, which they're doing a magnificent chicken dinner with a few pieces of chicken, which is amazing, mashed potato and green beans and a little biscuit, which he loved. I decided to go with the freshly tossed salad with some chicken, which was my favourite meal. And we got the strawberry shortcake dessert, which was amazing. And we all shared that. And that just did the job 100% perfectly.
Filled you up so you were ready for the afternoon.
Yeah. Have you guys ever eaten there?
No, we haven't eaten at the Plaza, have we?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think that we were going to eat there at one stage and we ended up going and eating at a quick service, and I can't remember why. I think it might have been Q's or something.
Can I just say that if you do ever want to get back into Disneyland and go for something substantial without an advanced dining reservation, this is the place. It's beautiful. Interior is just stunning. And it's hard to imagine that this place serves an evening meal without a reservation.
Really? I did not know that they didn't have reservations for the evening meal as well.
Yeah. Breakfast is a character breakfast, but the rest of the time you can just walk up.
That's not bad.
So I absolutely adored going there. It gave us that little bit of a time to reset and just sort of plan what we were going to do for the evening.
So what were the plans?
We went on Space Mountain. We saw the parade, which was phenomenal. It was really good. Some really good parade floats. My favourite was the one that was based around Moana, because there was a Gigantosaurus Maui. There's a little Kokomora whizzing around. This parade was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. If you haven't yet seen Magic Happens, YouTube it and have a look, because it is fab.
That's good. They do know how to do a good parade. I'll give them that.
Oh, absolutely. And it's one thing I miss at Walt Disney World, that yes, we have the afternoon parade, but we used to have evening parades before the fireworks, and I do miss that. But, after all of that fun, we went and rode Pirates, because again, it's an attraction that is different to Walt Disney World, and we were fitting in that theme, along with the Space Mountain that we rode earlier, because that is different and that was a must-do. And then another one of my favourite attractions is to visit the Gibson Girl ice cream parlour on Main Street to get a lovely fresh dipped chocolate waffle cone with some gorgeous ice cream.
Definitely. And can we talk flavours?
I went vanilla, and for me, vanilla is my favourite flavour. And yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for a good vanilla ice
There
cream.
is.
I think, where it's nice and creamy and it's got like that perfect fresh vanilla kind of taste.
Oh, absolutely. And it was just brilliant. And yeah, everyone got their different types of sundaes that they wanted. I think I had some chocolate fudge sauce on the top of mine, which just took it to the next level. And we hung around, watched the fireworks from Main Street, so you could see all the beautiful projections on the buildings on Main Street. Then we went up to It's a Small World, because of course we hadn't done it. Something that we didn't realise, and we only caught the end of, is there's an Encanto projection show on It's a Small World, and that's from 9 o'clock through till close every hour, sometimes on the half hour as well.
That sounds kind of delightful, because it's quite a plain backdrop, isn't it?
Yeah. I will say, and people are going to, please don't hate me, but having ridden It's a Small World at Christmas in Disneyland, riding it when it's not Christmas seems awfully dull.
Oh.
Because there's no fairy lights, there's less glitter, there's less bling. I prefer the Christmas version. The normal version, it's like a paler cousin.
Yeah. But, you go through a pine forest versus like you go through Christmas trees.
Exactly.
It's the same. I can understand that.
It's still cute that you have the characters in there, which you don't have at Walt Disney World. So again, it's another must-do.
True.
The only other attraction we had not really ridden that was on our big list was Snow White, because they changed it to the Enchanted Wish. So there was a little bit of retooling of the attraction, and we had an absolute delight on riding that.
What were the key changes?
They have tried to get rid of the really scary bit, so it feels not as scary for children. And they've brought in elements of the mine train that works really well when you go through the mine. And they've got elements of that. And there's a reworking of the old hag area as well. So there's some little bits that have just been made. Wow, it's fantastic. And it brought this dark ride right up to being a little bit more modern with some nice touches.
That's pretty cool. I like the idea of that.
Yeah. So that basically was our day in Disneyland. I think we left round about 11:15 at night. So we could have stayed an extra hour and a bit, because it didn't close till midnight, but we were feeling a bit tired.
Yeah, I imagine so because like you've got the time difference that you're operating with and things, and that was literally the first full day that you were stateside, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a big day.
Completely. Now, we did go on and book another day at Disneyland, and I'm going to save those stories for another day because there's a few corking tales I need to share. Plus, did I manage to visit every single Disneyland attraction in one day? Is it possible?
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
So you didn't go to DCA at all then?
No.
Oh,
And I'll explain why. Firstly, to get a hopper ticket was an extra $60 each, and I felt that was a lot of money, and we decided not to get a hopper ticket. We had the discussion of whether we go back to Disneyland and ride some more attractions. Tom wanted to definitely go back and see more of Galaxy's Edge, and the pull for us for DCA would have been to go and visit the new Avengers campus, to see Rogers, and for me to ride the two big attractions I love there, the Guardians and Incredicoaster. San Francisco hadn't opened, so
Oh, had it not, right.
no. So we kind of felt there isn't enough to do to have a full day, 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. in DCA. We would have been bored. We couldn't afford the hopper. So we made the executive decision to spend a whole day in Disneyland.
I think that's a good decision, good use of your time.
Yeah, and we just couldn't manage to squeeze in a third day because this was the Sunday. The Monday we decided was going to be a down day to recover a little. And then the Wednesday was going to be the day we packed up and moved on to our next adventure. So we really only had that Tuesday, and we felt for us, Disneyland was the better option. So, yeah.
No, I think it's the way that you weighed it up and things. It makes complete sense.
Yeah. And there was one more thing we did on that day, and I've just remembered it. We kept Tom's lightsaber in the case with them at the workshop, and we went back later and we got some pictures in front of key parts of Galaxy's Edge with Tom wielding his lightsaber as well.
Oh, in the evening?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. That would have been spectacular.
And the park was fairly empty as well.
Oh, great.
what color blade did Tom go with?
Blue.
A blue blade. Nice.
Yes. So I think I've posted that picture on Instagram already with him sort of there, and there's nobody in the background, which was super special.
Yeah, definitely. It'd almost be like you booked out the park just for him.
A special photo shoot.
Definitely. That's really exciting. It sounds like it was a really good day. A big day, though.
Yeah. And there's quite a few things there for you guys to think about what you've not done, because have you done Mickey and Minnie's Railroad even at Walt Disney World?
No. So, I mean, Galaxy's Edge is something that we've not done. We've not done Mickey and Minnie's. I think we missed out on it because when did that open? Was that 2019 or 2020?
I think it was 19,
I
just
think we
after I'd gone in the August.
Because I think we were there in 2019 in the May, so we just missed out on that. And so those would be the key two things that would be really sort of hanging out to do. Of course, over at DCA, the Avengers campus would be a big thing for us. I think that, I mean, really one of the things that I'd like to do is to time our next trip to Disneyland a little bit better so that we get to experience some of the seasonal stuff. We really enjoyed going during Food and Wine in 2019, I think, as well, because we did both coasts. And it was good going there during Food and Wine. I'd really like to go there maybe to capture some of the Christmas stuff, maybe to capture some of the Halloween stuff. I don't know. Well, I think that it needs to be more of a timing thing next time, as well as catching up on the attractions that we haven't managed to get. But I'm really looking forward as well to get onto the Snow White attraction with that little upgrade, because it was lovely and reminiscent before, but I think that it was hanging out for just a little bit of an update.
Yeah, and they do a really good job, and it's in the same sort of vein they did to Alice in Wonderland a couple of years ago as well.
Which is a great little attraction on its own. That's true.
Yeah. What about you, Lewis? Anything that you'd be really excited to see at Disneyland?
I mean, Galaxy's Edge, obviously. I'd be excited to see that in Disneyland. But I'm more wanting to go across the road to DCA and hang out at Avengers Campus. I think that's more what I'm really looking forward to when we go back.
Yeah, and hopefully by then there'll be more news about some of the other things that are coming as well. So, but we'll leave that conversation for a later date. So, guys, give yourself a bit of a plug where we can find you.
You can listen to our shows, the Gentlemen of the Pop Culture Network. We've got the show Kat and I do together, Diz Down Under, where we talk about Disney movies, theme parks, etc. And then we've also got Unscripted, the film show, which is a weekly film review podcast.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you ever so much for joining me to talk a little bit more about my trip, and I look forward to speaking again or even visiting again with you guys real soon.
Absolutely. See you soon, Michelle.
Bye.